It's no secret that a lot of sellers are mad at Etsy. I see it every day on message boards, forums, and even on responses to my videos. Just remember, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not Etsy. I'm not making these decisions. So today I want to flip the script and talk about how we can fix Etsy. Let's discuss. Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, Ella. Glad to be back with you guys hanging out, talking about Etsy. And today I want to talk about how we fix Etsy. So Etsy has changed a lot since its humble beginnings. It went from a relatively unknown e-commerce platform to skyrocketing to almost 100 million buyers in a top 5 e-commerce marketplace in the world that's publicly traded. Like any business that grows and grows and grows to this extent, there will be users left in the dust, frustrated and disenchanted. So today, rather than complaining about what's changed, I want to talk about possible solutions. Back in my corporate America days, which I don't talk about that much because it wasn't that fun working for someone else, I was a director responsible for several teams and dozens of employees. Like any company out there, it's going to change a lot. There's going to be a lot of things that are different and change. It's going to piss off employees. So people don't like change, in case you haven't noticed. So anytime there's changes, people aren't that excited about it. So of course, these employees would come to me with their complaints, and I would always say, and they would get tired of it sometimes, but I would always say that you should not have a complaint or a problem. You should not present a problem without a solution. There's going to be no good that comes from complaining without a solution. And you see it all the time. You see people who are complaining about everything and their brother, and most of them are just not. They just want to complain. They just want to be negative, and they don't want to present any solutions. Well, I would always ask them if they knew if there was a complaint or a problem. Do you guys have a solution? Otherwise, I don't really want to hear the complaint. Sure, as a leader, I could have come up with a solution, and I did a lot of times, but it really takes away the power of the employee and it really takes away their buy-in. So I wanted them to critically think and at least bring me some type of solution or some type of recommendation. From there, I could refine it, I could adjust it, and then I could bring it to my bosses to really be an advocate for them and really promote change. And that's kind of what I was trying to get across with doing this. So that is what I want to do today. I don't want to just complain. I could easily complain, and I know either way, I'm going to get response to this video with more complaints, right? But I want to bring solutions, and that's where real change comes from. Unless you're willing to bring solutions to the table, take surveys, you can make your voice known, you can make your complaints known. There's nothing wrong with that. But what are your solutions? What can we advocate for as far as change? Because anyone in the brother can sit back and talk about problems. Anyone could see the problems, but if you don't have solutions, then the problem is going to do no good. So I want to go over some of the main problems that I see, and I know there's going to be more than this, and that's fine. And you're more apt to share them in the comments or wherever you're watching this, and that's fine. Maybe I'll do an addition too. These are the clear-cut problems that I really see hindering the platform and hindering sellers. And if they kind of clean this stuff up, I think it would kind of go a long way. So I'm going to present the problems, and I'm going to talk about some of the solutions that I would recommend. So the first problem is with shops getting suspended and shut down. This happens all the time. This is kind of one of the biggest things that you see on forums and message boards. People upset because their shop got shut down right away, or basically trying to figure out a way to open back up. I think a key to fixing this is having a more rigorous opening procedure. Not only will this prevent shops from opening that are selling stuff against Etsy policies, but it's going to prevent scammers, fly-by-night shops, the shops that are really hurting the real Etsy sellers, the real vintage and handmade sellers. So I have heard that Etsy has started to charge bank cards a small fee when shops open, which I think is a good start. I haven't seen that officially, but I think that's a good start to kind of testing to make sure, okay, does this person actually have any money? Normal scammers are going to put the real information. And I know you have to verify your bank information as well, which again is another good step in the right direction. But I think a formal application process with specific information asking, what they're selling, give some examples and some things and some pictures of what the person wants to sell, will actually go a long way. Now, I know the reason that Etsy doesn't want to do this because it's going to limit the amount of new sellers on the platform, which is going to cut into their bottom line. The less new sellers they have, the less fees that they're going to get, the less listing fees, all that stuff is going to kind of add up and hurt them short term. I think long term, this is going to benefit them a lot more if they can stop being short sighted, because with more legitimate sellers, they're going to stay for longer. It's going to be a better overall experience for the other sellers out there. It's going to be a better overall experience for the buyers out there that aren't seeing these fly-by-night shops or having problems with buying something and then the order not getting fulfilled. They would still have that problem before the Etsy would shut down the shop. So that is my solution to that problem. The second problem that I see is trademarked, copyrighted, and mass-produced shops. Again, a more rigorous application process will help prevent this. Etsy has tried to tackle this head on the last few years by implementing AI to help find these types of products and implement a procedure to flag, trademark and copyright offenders. But they need to do more. They need to self-police trademark and copyrighted items instead of waiting for someone to flag them. I don't believe normally they will wait until it gets flagged and then they'll take it down. But if someone has a license to sell these items, I would have a spot to enter this info so people aren't getting flagged mistakenly. But they need to do a better job of self-policing this stuff and cleaning up the marketplace. Now, I know this opened the door when they allowed production partners. It opened a door for mass-produced stuff. So I'm not sure how they would be able to crack down on that. But there has to be a way with the application process to be able to crack down on it some. Because the problem, with production partners, POD, you're supposed to design the stuff, and then the other person makes it, but you have people not designing it or making it. But how do you enforce that? I don't know. Not really an easy solution there without absolutely killing their revenue with taking away production partners and POD stuff. That would absolutely destroy Etsy's revenue. So there's no way they're going to take it away. But I think that they can still do more to kind of clean it up for the rest of us. The next one is support. You can't talk to anyone on the phone and have to submit a case or chat about an issue. This is probably the biggest complaint that I see. People really, really get upset about the support issues that Etsy has changed. So the other thing in regard to this, shop closures are fine without any way to appeal or talk about the incident. I know they get a lot of people that open shops immediately that are violating policies, don't appeal correctly, and don't read the reason for suspension when the shop is closed, and then complain that they didn't know what happened or what they did. Well, Etsy does tell you before they close you. They do tell you. The thing that they don't tell you is after you appeal it or try to get it reversed, they'll close the shop and be like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. And there's no recourse. And that's what upsets people. So again, I think a more rigorous opening procedure will stop these type of shops from opening, so then they don't have to get closed and go through this process of Etsy's never going to allow them to sell because they didn't follow the policies and procedures before they actually open the shop. So this way, it would kind of remove that backlog, and then the people that actually need the help on Etsy can actually get the resources and help that they need without being bogged down by the people that shouldn't have opened in the first place. So either way, I think they also need a call center. Not being able to talk to a real human is very, very problematic. And I get, I get it. It saves them money, but it's a slap in the face when you can't actually talk to a support representative. This doesn't mean that they can't give you other ways first, do a case, chat first, but you got to be able to talk to someone. I mean, come on. That's probably the thing that's most problematic. And I think they should have different tiers of support as well, so that the focus on where the seller is at in their journey. So more care and support and hand holding to newer sellers, whereas veteran sellers won't need that, but they need an actual VIP support because they've been selling on the program the longest, on the platform the longest. So there can be different tiers of support that filter out people, but either way, I think they kind of need to clean that up, and it can be multifaceted with the different things that they do to kind of prevent that backlog and the stuff that happens later on. The next one is fees. Listen, there's no way to get rid of fees. It's totally unrealistic, and this is something this may rub people the wrong way, but sellers, are never going to like fees, but the fees are always going to be there, and they're probably always going to increase to a certain extent. They never decrease, right? They may get adjusted here and there, but there's always a need for fees. Fees drive the business. The business has profit holders, even if they weren't public. They got to make a profit. They can't continually lose money. So Etsy actually has comparatively lower fees to other platforms out there. If you look at eBay and Amazon, depending on what you're selling, the fees are much higher. So if you're doing your research out there, your fees are going to be just part of the equation. Even if you start your own website, Shopify, build your own website, Wix, wherever you go, you're paying a payment processor fee. Not as much as Etsy, but then you don't have the traffic. So your fee, your extra fees is paying for those millions of potential buyers, where you can start your own business all day long and you're going to be zero traffic. At least now you have the opportunity with Etsy to get traffic, whereas your own business, you got to drive your own traffic via paid traffic, via promotion on social media, wherever you got to go, but you got to drive your own traffic. So as far as a solution goes, with all that being said, I think Etsy could do a better job onboarding, with onboarding training. I think if sellers understood the fees, exactly what they were, and exactly what they helped provide to sellers, I think it would go a long way. I also think if sellers had some basic business training, like profit margin training, they would know how this impacts them as well. Because a problem, I think, with the fees is the lack of understanding of the fees, how much it's going to be. But many sellers start with a low profit margin, and when you take the fees into account, they're making very little or no money, and they just had no idea. So don't open a low profit margin shop. That is key number one. If you don't know what your profit margins are, that's the problem that I'm talking about, and that's what we need to figure out. Walmart, Target, they can operate on 5% profit margin, which is minuscule, but they're selling millions, hundreds of millions of units. So 5% profit margin on one item, a couple cents. A 5% profit margin on $100 million items, millions of dollars. So they can do it. You can't. So figure out your profit margin and don't open a low profit margin shop. That's where you get into trouble. So the lack of understanding there, I think a better onboarding, discussing the two would really help go a long way and alleviate some of the frustration when it came to this. The last one I have for you is shipping. This can get very confusing for new sellers. How much do you charge? How do you ship? How do you pack? How do you set up shipping? What happens if scenarios? Because there's a lot of different weird scenarios that happen. So again, this can be solved or helped with a better onboarding process to train sellers and give them the appropriate resources for success. Specific examples, specific use cases, different things that they can do and learn from. But again, this is going to deter sellers who just want to get started and don't want to have to go through these hoops, this onboarding process. Thus, it will hurt Etsy's bottom line. So that is why this solution is going to be tough for them to implement. But I think it is necessary, because if they have better resources, better information, better education, it's going to benefit the buyers out there if they're getting their items shipped correctly and quickly and packaged correctly. The buyers are going to be more pleased and thus want to come back to Etsy in general. So these are the major issues I see hurting the platform and sellers. I know there's probably a lot, like I said, that I probably missed. And I know there's a lot of little issues within these big issues that are problems. But these are the overall biggest ones that I see that are really kind of hindering the platform. But again, if I missed some, write a comment or whatever, let me know what I missed. I can definitely do a sequel to this video. But just keep in mind, I want to present solutions. I'm a glass half full type of person. I also am an advocate for Etsy sellers, and I want the program to get better, the platform to get better. But I also want to, be in problem solving mode and be a positive influence and not a negative influence. Negativity has no place in success or running a successful business. Most successful business owners are not negative, and they're not complaining and spending time complaining on message boards because they're out worrying about their business and worrying about the success of their business. But that is all I got for today. If you guys haven't downloaded my free Etsy SEO success guide, make sure you guys get that. It's everything you need to know about SEO to get more traffic and sales in your business, as well as some gold nuggets in there for you guys. You can get that at handmadeandbeyond.com/Etsy SEO success. That's it, guys. I'll be back soon with another good episode for you. Have an amazing rest of your day.